So you've stumbled upon this video and are contemplating moving to the city of Keller, Texas. Well, in this video, we are going to talk about everything you need to know about moving to Keller. And most of these questions and things that we're going to get into are the things that clients have asked specifically about this particular city, what it's like living there, the cost of living, some of the great neighborhoods, and what exactly you can get for the price of a home. So, we are going to get into all of these things and deep dive into where everything is located in Keller and if Keller is going to be right for you. And we're going to get after it right after this. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Living in Dallas, Texas channel. My name is Kristen Carpentier, and I'm a local real estate agent here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And my family and I actually relocated here to the Dallas metro area over a decade ago. So there are a lot of things that we learned along the way and a lot of things that I love passing forward to my clients so that they can get a better understanding of what it's like living here in the Dallas metro area. So let's dive into talking more specifically on the city of Keller and what types of things draw people to this particular city. So first up, we kind of want to give you the location of where Keller is. It is northwest of downtown Dallas, almost straight north of the city of Fort Worth. So its location is fantastic, but we'll get into the map here in just a little bit and kind of show you around more specifically in regards to maybe your commute and where everything is located. But we also kind of wanted to do a little bit of a background because we do kind of like to give a little snippet of history on what all of these cities have to offer. Now, Keller was actually settled back in the 1850s when it became a stop on the railroad line. So it attracted a lot of settlers because of the proximity to the Trinity River, and it had a huge supply of game and water and all types of land that was great for raising cattle and farming. So it actually wasn't even incorporated until 1955. So we always kind of think how crazy that is that for being within the lifetime, a lot of our relatives. So Keller hasn't been around too long here in the Dallas metro area. Now, Keller is actually known for its warm climates, its welcoming atmosphere, its excellent school systems, and a variety of shopping options, dining spots, and its proximity to South Lake in particular. Also, the cities of Westlake and Colleyville, not to mention a lot of the up-and-coming areas over in the Alliance Town Center and its proximity to the 35 West Freeway if you are specifically needing to commute, whether it's up to Denton or down into the Fort Worth area. So some specific points that we do want to get into that Keller really has going for it are the Keller Point, which is a great community center, indoor pools, outdoor pools, and splash pads, workout facilities, indoor, basketball courts, tons of summer camps for your kiddos, and not to mention the area around it with parks and trails and lots of green open space. So you're really going to see a lot of people within the community joining this Keller Point. In fact, we have been over there multiple times. It is always busy, and it just seems to be one of those great places where everybody hangs out. So anything community oriented is probably going to be happening over at the Keller Point, and a lot of great fun activities for you and your family if you want to be able to join the atmosphere over there. So it's super great. You don't have to have kids if you want to just go work out or, go socialize with people. Lots of different reasons to go enjoy that community center. Also, Keller is known for Bear Creek Park. Now, if you want big, wide open spaces, you want to show up for soccer games and football games, picnics, you will see it out there. Tons and tons of trees and walking trails, some beautiful neighborhoods right along Bear Creek Park, and just another great area to go and spend a lot of time in. And when the weather is nice here in Texas, it's so many reasons why you are going to want to be outside. And if you're living in Keller, you are going to see so many people out there enjoying it. We have been out there multiple times. Granted, we do not live in Keller. We have a lot of friends that live over in the area, not to mention when our kids have played sports over with some of the schools in the Keller area. We've been over there multiple times. It's just another great area where a lot of people hang out because, man, when our weather is nice here, you will see everybody outside enjoying it. Another area where you're going to see a lot of events and things going on is the Keller Town Center. Now, it's kind of like, I guess, what you could say the Keller downtown area. There's some cute little hair salons and boutiques and a little bit of shopping and things going on within that area. But you'll be down there for the farmers market, and different other community events will happen right there in that Keller Town Center. So there is some, your typical grocery stores and strip mall type shopping and restaurants over in that same area, some apartment buildings, but just another great central location for a lot of things that are happening within the city of Keller. And definitely, if you're going to be living in that community, a lot of things that you're going to want to check out to become part of the community, because here in Texas, that's what we do. It doesn't matter which neighborhood, which community, what city you're living in. You just get out and about and become one with the community and get to know your neighbors and your friends. So many great activities happening in Keller, as well as most of the other cities here in the Dallas metro area. Another great area in Keller is Old Town Keller. Now it runs north and south along the 377. We'll show you that in our map, more specifically where it's at. But it's another great area that you will probably be frequenting quite often. The amount of restaurants and boutiques and pretty much everything that you're going to find right along that 377 corridor, which was, before that 35 freeway was built. It's a huge major roadway that stretches all the way from Denton all the way down into Fort Worth. So another great opportunity to get out, enjoy some of the local restaurants that are out there, and a lot of the things, shopping and different things going on within Keller. Now, we kind of want to get into some of the numbers in the city of Keller. Now, back in the 2020 census, the population was just under 47,000 people. And as of January 2023, we're showing numbers around almost 48,000. So it has continued to steadily increase. But for the most part, you're probably not going to see tons of growth right within the city of Keller, just because there is not a lot of new build growth still happening. Granted, there is just a little bit, and we can talk about that further as well. But for the most part, not tons of new builds unless you're seeing some custom homes or a few of these very small, I guess you could call it master plan communities going in. But for the most part, there really is not a lot of new construction happening. And the median home price back in the census of 2020 was around $412,000. And the median age in Keller is probably a little bit older than some of these other cities that we have noticed, and it's about 42.4 years old. So a little bit on the older side. Granted, I'm totally joking, but compared to some of the other cities that we have researched, it tends to be slightly older than some of the other ones. And the median household income in Keller is around $150,000. Now, as you can see, here's a slide that we do like to touch on diversity a little bit here within the city, so you can see that we have posted here. Now, as we talk a little bit about employment and what type of jobs people have by living in Keller, you can see here they hold jobs in management, in business, and education. And the most popular industries, for example, that are shown here are within the healthcare and educational, manufacturing, and financial sectors. Now, we do want to get into schools because that is definitely something that people are always asking about. Whether you're moving here with your children, or in fact, we just spoke with a client earlier today. They did tell us that they're retired, but they wanted to live in a great community that is known for a great school district. So we want to dive into talking a little bit about the schools. And according to niche.com, they do give the Keller ISD an overall grade of an A. Now, when we're talking about how many schools and different things within Keller, for the Keller Independent School District, there are actually 5 high schools, 8 middle schools, and 13 elementary schools. But one thing to note about all of that is the fact that Keller ISD is actually made up of some schools that are actually within the city of Fort Worth. Fort Worth does extend fairly far north, so when you cross over the 377, most of the areas over there are going to be still within the Keller ISD, but they're actually going to be within the city of Fort Worth. So just something to take note of, even though we are talking about Keller Independent School District. If you live within the city limits of Keller, the majority, granted, almost all of them, are going to be going to Keller High School, for example. There will be a tiny little section that will actually feed over in to Carroll ISD. So if that's something that you're thinking of, you do see the occasional home come on the market that does feed into Carroll ISD, but is within the city limits of Keller. And that also goes for the fact that you can be within the city of Keller, just a tiny little portion on the other side of the 377, but those will feed into another high school within the Keller ISD, and it might be within the Fort Worth boundaries. But it can be a little bit crazy trying to keep it all under wraps, and if that is something important to you. But within Keller ISD, just kind of giving you a breakdown that not every single house goes to all of the homes within the city of Keller. And people are always asking, of course, that they want to be in a safe neighborhood. So we do tend to reference Neighborhood Scout, where you can pull up a lot of this information and kind of do a little bit of this research for you. But as you can see here, according to the Neighborhood Scout website, Keller is safer than 68% of the cities in the US, with their violent crimes having a ratio of 0.93 to 1,000 residents, with the average in Texas of 4.55 per 1,000, and the entire United States being 4 per 1,000 residents. So in terms of property crime in Keller, there were 5.4 per 1,000 residents, with a Texas average being 21.91 per 1,000 and the US average being 19 per 1,000. So just touching a little bit on crime and actually showing that Keller is actually safer than some of these other well-known, more popular cities here in the state of Texas. So just something to think about, and how safe a lot of people recognize the city of Keller to be. And of course, touching slightly on politics, we don't like to ruffle any feathers too much. The voting in Keller actually does lean towards the conservative side. But if you look at all of Tarrant County and you look at the last presidential election, that actually flipped ever so slightly to the Democratic side. So just something to take note of if that is of a concern to you. But here in Texas, we do all love to get along with our neighbors and make sure we support one another no matter which way we are leaning, because we are just a lovely, friendly environment here in the Dallas metro area. So keep that in mind if you are relocating here. Now, when we're looking at real estate numbers, we do want to take a look at the most recent homes that have sold since 2023 began here in Keller. And the median sales price is around $537,000, and it does range from about $260,000 up to $2.5 million. But as you can see, there are some newer homes that have been built, as well as homes that were built back in the 1960s. But we'll get into a little bit more of that as well when we talk about details of the real estate market later on in the video. And also rentals. Rentals within Keller, there are apartments. So like we have touched on previously in other cities like Southlake, for example, there are no apartments in the city of Southlake. There are apartment options in Keller, but there are also rentals for single family homes. And the median rent for a single family home in Keller is about $2,300 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home that was built in around the 1990s, with an overall rent range from around $1,600 to $6,500 per month. Just kind of depends on how new, how big, and the location of the home that you're looking to rent. Now we're going to get into our map and show you a little bit more around where everything is laid out here in Keller. So as you can see, here is the city of Keller. Like we talked about before, it's around 18 and a half square miles, and it does run along the 377 road over here on the west side for the most part, obviously. So we kind of want to give you an idea of where it is in relation. We always kind of show where it is in relation to downtown Dallas, downtown Fort Worth, the DFW airport, just an example, just to give you an idea if you're commuting or need to, travel quite a bit. So when we kind of point out where Dallas is, so you can see it's just over 32 miles. Obviously, right now there is no traffic, but you can see that you do kind of have to head in through South Lake to get to downtown Dallas. Obviously, if we have some crazy traffic going on, there are multiple roadways that you can get through Keller, hop on another type of a freeway, depending on what might be going on or what type of construction might suddenly be happening here in Dallas. But this road here through South Lake can get pretty backed up just to get over here onto the 114. So 32 miles, 37 minutes, and that is without traffic. So rush hour traffic or, a crazy time of day could definitely put a little bit more of a commute time added onto that. And then if let's point out Fort Worth, because obviously it is a really good location if you have to get down to Fort Worth as well. And you can see here, depending on where you're going, it's obviously a little bit closer to Fort Worth, let's say 18, 19, 20 miles, but there are multiple ways to get there also. You can head straight south, but you can also head over to the 35 West freeway. You can take the 377 south. So there are multiple ways to get down to the Fort Worth area also. So if you need to be a little bit more on the Fort Worth side for commuting for work, for example, Keller could be a really good option for that. And of course, let's always kind of show you where the airport is, because another reason why a lot of people work in Keller. Now you can see here, so the Dallas Fort Worth Airport actually has a north entrance and a south entrance. So depending on what you need to go to for travel or which route you feel like taking, there are definitely multiple options to do that as well. So it's about 20 miles, no traffic, could take you 26 minutes. So that'll also be something to take into account as well. And like we said, this road heading into, this is South Lake Boulevard and Keller, but following along into South Lake to get over there can definitely take quite a bit during the busy times of day. So we'll go back here and kind of narrow in a little bit more on where everything is here in Keller. So like we said, South Lake Boulevard is when you're in South Lake, or Keller Parkway when you cross over the city limits and you're into Keller. So the main road that really does head straight through Keller here. This is where a lot of your strip mall shopping is, your grocery stores, your restaurants, and those kinds of things are going to, for the most part, be right along in here. So when you kind of zoom in a little bit more, kind of show you where everything's at. We are going to touch on this a little bit more, but you're down here with Bear Creek Parkway. You have the golf club over here and a lot of these great neighborhoods right along here. You have Keller Town Center right here, just off of the Keller Parkway. If you go in here, and when you zoom in over here, you can see we have, the hotels over here. You have all of these stores, shopping, restaurants, Boca 31, our salons, the spas, painting with a twist, your Petco, the Summer Moon Coffee. If you are into coffee, this is a great, cute little local coffee shop right over here. You have your Tom Thumb, your Keller Town Dental, JR's Barbecue, and more. But I mean, these are really kind of your endless locations for everything that you're going to want to eat, everywhere that you're going to want to go on a daily basis. I mean, if you want to go grab a quick bite with your kids, if you need to do your grocery shopping, everything is going to be right along here on Keller Parkway. But as we zoom in a little bit more, like I said, most of your everyday shopping, your strip mall type of things are going to be right along over here. And then we get over here to the 377, and you're pretty much in Old Town Keller. So this has been around forever. You see a lot of great restaurants over here, kind of like your local restaurants. There are some great people. We've been over here to multiple restaurants with some friends who do live in the area. And it's kind of like your local favorites, the people that get to know the owners of the restaurants that stop in, and everybody knows everybody's names. And we've loved a lot of these areas over here, and friends who frequent these very often and absolutely love it. So down over here is Bear Creek Park that we talked about. And as you can see, it's this huge green space, these trails. If we zoom in a little bit, you can see all the trails that run through here. And it is just green space galore. You can see the pavilions that are down over here if you want to have a picnic. Just another great area. You're going to see games going on all during the spring and the fall, and it's pretty much where the entire community hangs out, it seems. But when we kind of focus on the location of Keller, another great thing that a lot of people love about Keller is its location in regards to South Lake. So over in South Lake, you have a lot more options for restaurants and shopping. You have South Lake Town Square. So if you want your Lululemon and your other local shops, your Anthropologie, your Williams and Sonoma, and tons of other restaurants and shopping opportunities are going to be in South Lake Town Square, which is just down the street. Keller is also just south of Westlake, which is another amazing city with multiple multi-million dollar homes. So another beautiful community. And I mean, if you live here on the north side of Keller, you can hop on the 114 freeway, which is a lot more convenient if you are having to travel anywhere around DFW for work. So just another thing to think about. And also as you kind of go down a little bit further, there's a lot more shopping and things coming in over here in, for example, the Alliance Town Center. So this is over on the Fort Worth side, but it's not that far over. So tons of things are happening in and around the 35 West Freeway over here. So another option of where its location is. So pretty much the location is just really key for a lot of people. And it does give you that small town community vibe by living in Keller that a lot of people love. So just the location and everything that is around it and surrounding Keller is just a really positive atmosphere for a lot of people. You have price ranges from the cheaper older homes up to luxury homes on a lot of land as well. So a lot of opportunities if Keller might be a great fit for you and you don't want to be too far outside the city, but you still want a lot of the amenities that are close. Because as you can see, I mean, you're going to have multiple Targets right within the area. Sam's Club is right in the area. Your Lowe's Home Improvement, and for the most part, tons of your strip mall restaurants and shopping also. So lots of great reasons and things that you can have access to just by living in Keller. So we're going to hop out of the regular map and we are going to jump in to the local MLS within Keller. And we kind of want to start out because a lot of times some people need some affordable options and they are hoping for an affordable option that isn't super far outside of the metro area because some people may need to commute quite often for work. So not everybody wants to live out in the country here in the Dallas area. So all of these homes that we've pulled up are under $400,000. So it does show you, for the most part, where they are in location. Yes, some have recently closed or they're pending, but it just kind of gives you an idea of where you can find a home under $400,000. Yes, you can. There have even been a few homes in the $260,000 range. There's a couple listed currently if that's something that you absolutely need. And for the most part, they're 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, maybe around 12 to 1400 square feet, built back in the 80s and 90s. So if you need something in that price range, reach out. We can help kind of address those things if you want one of these school districts and the location. So for example, we pull up, this one has just closed. And as you can see, 1,300 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, just over 300,000. And obviously it was green. Like, they were smart enough to take the pictures when it was still green outside. So we love going through and seeing that somebody has taken really good care. They've done a few updates, and yet you can still get a home for just over $300,000. So this did go a little bit above ask just because of the condition of the home right here in Keller. So smaller home, first-time home buyer, for example, and you do have that affordable option, as you can see within Keller. So then we wanted to go in and kind of show you something more along the lines of $500,000 to $600,000. And it is, as you can see, there's multiple neighborhoods and multiple different areas here in the Keller, Texas area also. So kind of pulling up $575,000. This one is actually currently on the market, just over 2,300 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It is on a golf course and I mean, have a few birds that you can see out your back door. But So as you can see, we love, this is another great option. It has hardwood floors or wood tile floors. It has some updates going for it and just kind of gives you an idea of a home that you can get in that price range. It's another home that is clean, might not have all of the updates like a brand new build, but it essentially looks move-in ready. So another option if your budget's a little bit higher on what you can get with a little bit more square footage, and its location is fantastic. This community of Hidden Lakes is just one of our favorites over here, mainly for realizing where it is with the golf course and the trails. If you are into trail running, there are some great paths down along through here, as well as some great parks also. So as we talked about, Keller can get multiple homes upwards of well over $1 million, $2 million. But here we are showing some houses in the $800 to $1 million range. And as you can see, a little bit more spread out. It's not just centrally located within a couple of communities. Keller does have a lot of great areas with some custom built homes. Even if they're a little bit older, you have opportunities to get a lot more land in some of these areas in Keller, which is another bonus for people. People are always wanting land. So just kind of finding the right area that you can get the land in, but there are definitely some options here in Keller. So as you can see down in the Hidden Lakes area, you can find a few of these homes, and also in some other areas here in Keller. So when we pull this one up, $839,000. So still fairly affordable for some people. And it's almost 4,000 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and a nice brick home, lots of trees, wide open, and just kind of what we call them our traditional Texas houses. So, not all the amenities and luxuries, again, of a new construction home in this price point, but it's still very well taken care of. It has some nice updates. And it's certainly in a great community. So another thing to think about, maybe you do feel like doing your own updates and updating it as you go along, or maybe this is absolutely up your alley and exactly what you're looking for. So another great home here in Keller in the 800,000, just over $800,000 range. So something to think about if that is what you're looking for, give you a little bit more home in a great location. Now, I do want to touch on just briefly homes over $1 million. So $1 to $2 million for the most part, as you can see, again, fairly spread out. So we just kind of wanted to show an example. Okay, oh, that's not the one I was looking for. Okay, so this is just under 2 million, just closed actually, 52, almost 5,300 square feet, and it is on over an acre. It's gated, and it has a beautiful property with a swimming pool. Lots of updates here in this home. The wooden beams, I mean, granted, you're paying, it's almost like South Lake prices, but you're probably getting more land for this price point by living here in Keller. So just showing you what land can get you in Keller. I mean, if you have a nice hefty budget, and just what that kind of shows what you can get for your money based on some of the other areas, especially if you're living in South Lake, you'd pay a lot more than this, as well as the city of Westlake. If you're good with this location and these schools, and you don't have your heart set on one of those other areas. And last but not least, we do want to get into a little bit of new construction. Now, for the most part, not a whole lot of new construction happening here in the Keller area. Granted, most of these have closed. There's a small little community that has gone in over here, and you're looking at around $1 million. So just another thing to think about, this Gein Estates over here in Keller if you want new construction. And there are a few opportunities, so you can find new construction. But like I said, for the most part, you're looking at building a custom home here in Keller. Now that kind of showed you around, gave you some price points, and kind of showed you what Keller had to offer, the location, everything that it had there, as well as the price points on some of the homes. Now, some pros and cons about Keller, what people have told us. We do have multiple friends who've actually relocated there. Some of the pros for sure are the location. And the friends that we know that live there have loved that they can get to Fort Worth, to Dallas, and Southlake, especially because of the location. And yet they still absolutely love the schools. Not everybody has their heart set on going to the Carroll ISD, and they've loved the schools that they have been a part of in the Keller area. So we do know firsthand from some really good friends and people that we have helped move over into that area that they've loved Keller. They've loved the small town community feel. They love, access to multiple shopping areas. Pretty much any grocery store and anything you need is really not that far away. So, and not only that, all of those small town family owned restaurants that they have found and little boutiques right there within Keller. So not everybody needs to head out to the big malls or shopping areas, and there really are a lot of opportunities in Keller. And that's what a lot of people have told us that they've loved. And every time we have gone over there and met with clients, met with friends, there's definitely multiple options and just a great community feel over there. Also, another reason why people have loved it are the amount of housing options within Keller. If you need a cheaper home, in fact, one of our clients has now bought 3 homes within the Keller area. They have upgraded every single time they've wanted a new home. They've loved the school district for their kids. And even though their kids are older now, they just bought pretty much like their final house. They found a great property and everything that they wanted. And so they finally found their forever home that they said. So they have bought 3 homes in Keller. They've kept their kids in Keller's schools, and they've just absolutely loved the community. So you do have price points for a lot of individuals. If you can afford those first-time home buyer prices in the upper 200, low $300,000 range, you can find that in Keller. But you can also find some great properties with a little bit of land and, find that luxury home right within Keller as well. So you don't have to leave Keller to have multiple housing options. But of course, there's always a few cons for some people. Now, the cons really totally depends on the individual. And the one con that we have heard from a couple of individuals are the fact that, well, but it's not Southlake. I mean, I know it's close, but it's still not Southlake. Now, what some people don't realize is there is a very small portion of Keller that actually does feed into Carroll ISD. So if you have your heart set on that, don't negate, actually living in the city limits of Keller. You just need to wait and find for one of those houses to actually come on the market. So it might have a Keller address, but it might feed into the Carroll ISD. And on top of that, it could be the problem of your freeway access. So another con, not being quite so close to the freeway access that you might need to be, especially if you're commuting down to the Dallas area and getting through, the heart of Southlake or getting over to that 114 freeway to get on the freeway can be kind of a nightmare during rush hour traffic. But on top of that, there are multiple ways that you can get through the cities and head on to a different freeway if you absolutely have to. But for the most part, a lot of people do want that easy freeway access, and certain parts of Keller, you're not really going to have that. But on top of that, we will touch on a little bit more of our property taxes. So we did break it down here for you to just kind of take a quick glance at if property taxes are important to you. Yes, no matter where you go here in Texas, they're going to be fairly high. But obviously, Keller, compared to some of the other cities here in Texas, your tax rate isn't going to be quite as high as some of these other bigger, more growing cities where you have a lot of the growth happening, because Keller, for the most part, is mostly established. So that will sort of slightly help to keep your tax rate down a little bit, but it's definitely going to depend on where in Keller and where in the Dallas metro you are, what those tax rates are going to be. So of course, we always like to show that just so you have a basic idea. And of course, you may encounter the occasional toll road. So just something to be aware of, especially if you're heading down into the Fort Worth area, or you may not necessarily have the toll, but you may have those HOV lanes that you need to keep track of what your spending might be on a daily basis. But Yes, there are the toll roads that you might have to encounter every once in a while based on where it is that you're going. So, your tolls, your HOA fees, and your property taxes, always something that we kind of want to make sure that people keep an eye on, especially if they're a little bit more in tune with what their budget needs to be and taking into account what those factors might end up being. But as always, if Keller is the right city for you, if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Let us help you answer those questions on if Keller's the right fit for you based on what it is that you're exactly looking for in a home. And we would be more than happy to show you around and give you any information that you need, send you some homes, send you some listings, and find the perfect spot for you here in the Dallas metro area. So, any questions, don't forget to reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email and let us know how we can help you make that smooth move here to the Dallas, Texas area.